Good morning, everyone. Welcome to OACADA 2020. This is your second session of the day. And as we start the second session of the day, please remember that our sessions are being recorded. So if you don't want yourself on screen or your sound heard, please keep yourself muted and your cameras off. Throughout the presentation, please feel free to enter any of your questions in the chat. We're going to take some time at the end of Niccole's presentation to answer some of those questions that you have. So please enter those as you have them. There will be a session evaluation at the end. So have your phones ready at the end of this session. You'll be able to snap a QR code and go directly to the eval. We'll also put the eval links for both this session and for the conference in the chat. And then towards the end of this, we'll also enter your next session connection information in the chat as well. We thank you all for being here. Also want to mention, if you are not currently an OACADA member, you can become one just by going to OACADA.com. We appreciate all of the support that we have from our members and appreciate all of our non-members here today, moving forward and trying to create a great conference for everyone. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Niccole Miller. She is the Director of Student Success and Retention for the College of Business at the University of Central Oklahoma. And she's presenting today, So You Want to Build a Student Success Center. Niccole, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Julia, and thank you to all of the members of the steering committee for OACADA. I know that this has been a very interesting time, and so thank you so much for your time and for pulling all of this together. It's good to see everyone's, faces and screens and whatever you've got going on today. Like Julia said, my name is Niccole Miller, and I work at the University of Central Oklahoma in student success and retention. I'm originally from California and was a soccer player at Oklahoma State University, and then stayed here and always wanted to be a teacher, fell in love with higher education, and began my journey as an advisor at UCO in 2012. And so I kind of worked in different capacities in advisement and moved up in various managerial roles, and now in a director role for the last couple of years. And so wanted to just take a minute to share a little bit about our experience with building a student success center in the College of Business, and then just leave some time at the end for some questions that you might have. I know everybody's kind of got different things, so I'll tell you a little bit about how UCO works if you don't know this already. So we have both centralized and decentralized advisement at UCO, and so we have a lot of our advisors are centralized over in the Nye University Center, and then we have some colleges that have their own in-house advisors. So the College of Business is one of those that has in-house advisors, and so that way you have a little bit of kind of a perspective of how this works. And so our Student Success Center is exclusive to the College of Business, though services that we offer are available, depending on what they are, to business students, and then also to other students as we kind of get into workshops and different stuff like that. So we'll just take a minute to go through a few of these items that I have here on the agenda. And then, like I said, if you have questions at the end, then I'm happy to take those questions and answer them to the best of my ability. So our Student Success Center, this is a picture of our lobby right now. It doesn't quite look like that because it has caution tape everywhere with the stuff out of the way so nobody's sitting there. But our Student Success Center started, it started in 2014, really, but in 2011, the dean at the time, Dean Kamey, was working toward, Dean Kamey and then came Dean Hefner, were working toward AACSB accreditation and for the College of Business. And one of the things that they wanted to start doing was having some of our own services and resources, such as having our own in-house advisors, and also working toward bringing on career development people and those types of resources. And so what happened was they were able to fund a position for an advisor in their college, and then we had some folks from central advisement also in the college as well. but they were able to pay for their own advisor by student fees. And so that happened a little bit prior to 2011. And so, like I said, it's funded by student fees. And so really what they did is they you know, you submit the requests every year, and then you get the various funds, and the college determines how to spend them. And so our college determined that with those funds that we would get from the university, that we would use ours for things like salaries and, you know, various kinds of activities that directly impact students. And so we originally were downstairs in classroom and separated by cubicle, you know, dividers that didn't go all the way up to the front, and you know, you could hear everybody's conversations and everything. And so around 2014, we were raising funds and raising money to be able to have a suite. We were originally spread out where we had advisors downstairs, our career consultant was upstairs, our grad people were in the other room over there. And really the idea and the hope was that we could bring everybody together in one centralized location under the umbrella of the Student Success Center. And so that's really kind of how we got to where we are today, and we moved upstairs, and we have you know, just a nice little center with some offices and a lobby room, and you know, our front desk area. So before that all kind of happened, as we were working on transitioning from being, you know, business advisement and, you know, the business career consultant and the graduate advisors, we had to kind of figure out how to become one and to become under the Student Success Center. And so I started to kind of step up in more leadership roles and stuff during that time. And I had attended NACADA. This was back in 2013. I still have my little book that I got from it. I attended a session called Mission Possible, Moving Beyond Surveys and Measuring Effectiveness. And I like numbers, and so I'm like, that sounds really cool. I don't know if anybody attended that. But part of this workshop that I attended was all about, obviously, the importance, and we know this, about developing vision and mission statements for what it is that you want to do. And so that's really where we started, is I put together a survey. Well, first I did a lot of research with various articles and institutions and talking to different people about, you know, what does their Student Success Center look like? What do they value? What does the University of Central Oklahoma value? Because, you know, your mission and your vision should flow from, you know, the university as a whole. And then if you happen to also be situated in a college, then that also flows from the college's mission and vision. And so I, you know, grabbed a lot of stuff and kind of put it together, and then put together a survey and basically surveyed the folks in our area, our advisors and career consultant at that time, to say, you know, what do you value, and what do you think we should value, and who are we? What is our purpose? What are we trying to do here? What's our mission? What's our vision? And what are our goals? And so out of that came our mission statement, which, like I said, it flows from the universities through the college and then to the Student Success Center. And kind of the same thing with the mission statement, is we wanted to ultimately make sure that we were very student-centered and that we were a very collaborative environment. So instead of everyone just kind of being on their own island, where you have the advisor and then you have the career consultant, and then eventually maybe students want to go to graduate school, we wanted to figure out how to create some type of a holistic experience for students, to where it was just kind of a fluid process, if that makes sense. And so that was really kind of our vision and our mission for what we were trying to do. So we developed specific goals, and I will say, and I'm sure that a lot of your areas have these things, but these basically just kind of govern our everyday objectives and the things that we're trying to achieve. And they're what we use to measure whether we're being successful and whether we're achieving what it is that we've, you know, set out to do. And so these goals again, they're still fluid, they still are there, but as new services and new things have gotten added to what it is that we do, then these goals change to meet some of those needs. For example, when we added our Masters of Science in Business Analytics program, that wasn't here before. And so as new things get added, then obviously we, you know, evolve, and our goals evolve to kind of meet those needs. And so right now, there is some change needing to happen because the college just approved some new mission and vision statements. And so we need to go back to the drawing board as a, you know, as a unit within the Student Success Center and make sure that ours still matches that. And if not, make some tweaks, make sure that we're in line with what it is that our college and our university is wanting to do. And then one of the things that recently got added on to our area is marketing and development as well. And so that's not within our goals at this point in time because that was new. And again, it's an ever-changing process. And so I think that those are kind of the things that are helpful to me when I think about, you know, strategic planning and vision and where do you want to go and what do you want to do, is to figure out really that's the foundation of where you're going and everything that you launch off of, so that you can look back to those things and say, okay, this is what we're trying to do. Or even if you're having conversations with advisors and or a career consultant or whoever it is that you work with, you know, hey, this is what we believe in, and so let's make sure that we're doing this. And so it's something that always you can point back to. So in our office, you've kind of heard me say this a little bit, that we've evolved over time. So it first started out with just an advisor, just a single advisor that the college was able to pay for with student fees. And then it evolved to a couple of advisors and a career consultant. And today, this is what it's become in the last several years. And we had an interim transition period where things were just a little bit different. You know, financial situation was a little bit tight. We lost some of those services and then we built them back up. And so it's exciting. When I was preparing this presentation, it was very exciting for me to just look and see, like, oh my gosh, we're doing it. You know, this dream that we had to create this environment that had a lot of just different resources and stuff for students. It was very exciting to see how far we've come. So I'll tell you a little bit about each of our services, but you know, our advisors in the college, we call them Student Success Advisors, and we have 4 full-time advisors, and they're each responsible for a suite of majors within the College of Business. And then we have our career consultant who also serves in the recruitment and prospective student services position. So she has dual kind of role and responsibility. So she works with our transfer office on all of our recruitment events. So we do a lot of our own recruitment events, and then we also partner with the university on those types of events and stuff too. And then for years, I had a dream to launch workshops, and so we launched workshops a little over a year ago, and then the testing center is kind of interesting. So with the university accreditation, what was requested was that, you know, obviously as we're going into these online environments, that students, we wanted to make sure that testing procedures were fair and equitable, and that students were taking exams with integrity and those types of things. And so proctoring became a requirement, and the university went into contract originally with ProctorU, and students were really concerned about being on camera, especially like if they were in their home or they were at home and they had children at home and they didn't really have a quiet and space to be able to take their exams and those types of things. And so our dean at the time had heard from a lot of students about these various concerns that they had, and he said, can we make a testing center? You know, can we use some of this fee money to make a testing center? And I'm like, sure, we'll try it. I've never done that before, but yeah, we can figure it out. So we called our friends at OSU and OU and asked them all the questions and learned about Register Blast and you know, just different things, did a lot of research, and you know, couple weeks later, the testing center was born, and it's actually been a very successful operation for us. We run close to 4,500 exams every semester. So it's everyone was worried that it was going to be a fling, but it's become a thing. And we have, 5, 6, 7 now proctors working in our testing center. 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And so it's been very helpful to our students because it's a free service to them. And so they don't have to pay the fees of ProctorU, which is really nice. And they've really appreciated that. And then this summer, marketing and promotions came under my purview, which was kind of like, oh, that's kind of an interesting thought, but it's really been a beautiful partnership because so much of what our office does involves marketing and promotions, and how do we work together to look at, let's say, I don't know if you all get reports from, your institutions, I'm sure you do, from institutional research about what your enrollment looks like semester to semester, or even week to week, heading down to the first day of school starting. And so we get those, and I'm able to look at those reports and say, okay, this department looks a little bit down. Hey, Jack, can we run a Facebook ad campaign, target it to these folks, and see if that, helps our numbers or something like that. And then, we beefed up our social media and those types of things. So we've really been able to partner on some really cool opportunities that you'll see a little bit more even at the end when I talk about COVID and everything too. So I mentioned our workshops, and some of what we did with the workshops. So originally someone told me, I'm a former athlete, and so full disclosure, I'm a very competitive person, and when you tell me that I can't do something, it is the greatest source of motivation for me. And so I had this dream to do workshops, and I had a lot of people say that'll never work, nobody will come, and I'm like, challenge accepted, awesome. So what we did is we wanted to create these workshops, and so I started looking around and thinking like, okay, if I was going to choose to attend a workshop, what attracts me? And, we talked among each other as a team. Okay, we need to figure out what times are students available. Are they always going to be while they're in class? And so we worked with our person that does all of the scheduling in the college to say, what's prime time of class time? Because obviously we're not going to do it at that time because most students are in class. When do the clubs start? Can we kind of edge into that little spot in between to where they're not in class, but they haven't started their club meeting yet because they're very involved in clubs in the College of Business. And then how do we find some workshops that would be interesting to them that they could actually want to attend? And how do we create some cool titles and some catchy, things that will make them be interested in what they're doing? And so we started to kind of put our heads together and create some various workshops and titles. And at the beginning, it was pretty slow, and, students are 6 are attending, and one we have 8, and so we were very excited about that. And then as we've gone on, we've seen it become more and more. And so one of the things that is helpful to us to kind of get the word out is our principles of management classes have an assignment that's required in their class that students can attend 2 of these types of opportunities on campus, be it in the College of Business or elsewhere on campus, to attend something and to write a short, page or 2 about it. Or if they don't attend anything, they have to write a huge essay. And so obviously we know which ones they tend to do. And so that's really helped us because we've had a lot of these students that were just coming for college or, coming for credit in their class, and realizing that they actually really liked these workshops and they were going to come without being forced to. And so when we went on over to COVID time, we moved these into the virtual environment, and it's where they still are right now, and they won't probably stay there forever. Like, we'll still have a variation of being in class and being virtual because the experience is just different. Obviously, even just being on this and looking at people's tile faces rather than, kind of like human interaction and stuff like that. But we were seeing over the summer months, and even now, I think Jordan had like 20 in her session the other day, and so we've seen up to almost 40 in a session before, and so that's really exciting. We've had the principles of management faculty share what students are saying about the workshops and giving us feedback and stuff. So that's been very exciting. So these things that I have here on the screen are individual, you know, little JPEGs or PNGs, and they're what we will post on social media and those types of things to remind students that they're coming. So some of, I would say, the specialty items that we've kind of built over the years was, you know, making our appointments available online. And I don't know what all you use with scheduling systems, but we use a system called Appointment Manager. It's not the same system that the university uses. They use Advisor Track. We moved over to Appointment Manager almost 4 years ago because we needed a resource that was a little bit better for both the internal user experience and also for students. We wanted them to be able to grab their degree evaluations out of the system and have access to these notes, and it again be a fluid process to where if they went from one advisor to the next, we maintain these records and these types of things. And so if you ever want to know more about Appointment Manager, I'm happy to set you up with Bobby Joseph. It's been a very wonderful and helpful program for us. And so when COVID hit and we had to just go straight to online, it was a flip of a switch because we were already doing it. And so it made it very simple to do that. Again, we flipped our virtual workshops. We do a monthly newsletter for our students every month. And so it's just a little picture on the screen there of a portion of it. So, you know, we have some stationary pieces on that, but we'll give them some key tips and some dates and deadlines and various things that they need to be aware of. And that came into play because I have, like I said, 4 advisors, but they all kind of do their own thing with students. They were sharing information, and it would be like, oh my goodness, like, wow, you shared this scholarship information. I didn't even think to share that scholarship information. And so we kind of put our heads together each month and said, you know, how do we get the same message out to students to make sure that they're all having this similar opportunity to learn about resources? And how do we do our best to get them this information so that they don't miss, you know, graduation deadlines and have to pay a late fee, or even just know that they can get 30% off at JCPenney this month and get some new, you know, business attire, clothing, and those types of things. So that's what we do every month. And we've started to incorporate some video, which I'll show you here in a minute. And then again, we've done some digital recruitment that I'll talk about here in a second. So I wanted to just take a minute to just quick introduce you to our team so that you can, you know, see kind of who we are. And then this is what we put on that newsletter for students.
Hi everybody, welcome back. We're super excited to have you back on campus and hope you're having a really good semester. I wanted to take a minute and let us introduce ourselves to you as your student success team in the College of Business. My name is Niccole Miller. I'm the Director of Student Success and Retention.
Hey everyone, I'm Jordan Scribner and I'm your personal business career consultant. So come see me if you need help with resumes, cover letters, interview prep, or your job or internship search. I look forward to seeing you.
I'm Catherine. I'm one of the undergrad advisors. I do the ISOM majors, so supply chain management and management information systems, as well as our marketing majors, so regular marketing and professional selling, and also our professional golf management degree.
Hi everybody, I am Morgan. I am an undergraduate advisor for accounting, energy econ, and econ, as well as any CPA students out there.
Hey everybody, hope your semester's going well. I'm Ashley. I'm your student success advisor for the finance major, as well as finance, insurance, and risk management. Also, if you're a general business student or undecided business, you know you want business but aren't sure which area, come see me.
And we have one. So I'm going to go ahead and just pause there and move on, but you kind of get the idea of what we did, and we tried to do our best to bring kind of a human component to it. And so some goals that we have over the course of this next semester is to incorporate more of these videos in shorter doses for students, just to start to bring some of that human component back, because we're still seeing students virtually. We are here back in the office. We're still seeing students virtually, but you know, everybody knows COVID's really kind of changed the way that we've done live, and so many of us are really just kind of missing that human interaction component and piece. So some of the little videos that we're doing will be fun, or we'll talk about a little topic or something like that. So that's kind of what's to come, and what we're trying to do in the future to do our best to again bring that human component back to students who are very virtual right now. This is how we sort of organize ourselves here in the College of Business. So well, at least in the Student Success Center area. So I report to our assistant dean, who reports to the dean. And so all of the like advisors, career consultant, all the people that I've talked to report to me. And then we have a director who does grad programs. And then we also have a grad advisor who reports to the two directors that direct our graduate programs. And so all of those people are located in the Student Success Center and staff roles. And then we have a very large student team, that that honestly, I feel like fills staff roles so much. One of our advisors has been answering the phone because they had to go. We have like a lull in the schedule this week, and it's like, you need to pay them more because they answer so many questions. And so we make sure to train our student employees really well so that they can be extremely helpful to all of the folks in our office. And we love seeing students, but if a question can be answered at the front desk that doesn't need to wait to get an appointment, that's our goal. And so while they're not advisors at our front desk, we do train them in a way that equips them and gives them autonomy and gives them information to be able to share. And because building leaders is very important to me, one of the things that I work to do is to find a lead in the areas for our student staff, and then they sort of become supervisors of the other students, and so they get to work on their leadership growth and development too. And that's still under the umbrella of the Student Success Center, and it's the same for our graduate students. We work with our graduate students, myself and Dr. Clinton, my boss, in addition to their responsibilities as proctors and as classroom techs right now due to COVID, they also have research responsibilities. And so they're being mentored in these various areas to, learn how to conduct research, learn how to, have difficult conversations and all of those types of things. And so that's something that I think is really unique and fun for our office and our center, is that really they become a part of us. And so we don't call them student workers, we call them student assistants, because really the work that they do, we want to honor that and make sure that they know that they're a valuable part of our team. So like I mentioned a little bit earlier on, we were really kind of on our own little islands before we merged into this Student Success Center. And so I kept finding that people didn't know that either we moved upstairs or, it was like, are they taking advantage of this resource? And so I ran a survey in 2007, it was the 2017-18 school year. And these aren't all the questions that were on there, but just some of them. And so I asked them some advisement questions. I asked them to rate some experience. And then primarily the heart of the survey was about awareness. And so, when they think of the Student Success Center, what comes to mind? What do they know about it? Do they know where it's located? Are they hearing about it? Who told them? Those types of things. So out of that survey, we got a lot of really good usable information, but these were the primary actionable results that really became sort of building blocks for the next steps that we took. So we learned that almost half didn't know where the Student Success Center is located. So obviously that's a problem when we went from being downstairs in a classroom where they're all passing and they can see, to being upstairs in a corner that they had no idea it was even there. So we're like, okay, we can do something about that. About a quarter of them were emailing their advisors to schedule appointments rather than making them online or calling. And so again, I don't know how everybody, kind of does their own stuff, but advisors are pretty busy for the most part, and our folks don't tend to make appointments. We usually want them to call our front desk, or we give them the link to schedule online. So we're like, okay, all right, how do we fix that? About 30% hadn't seen an advisor in the last 12 months or more than 12 months, or had never met with their business advisor before. So I'm like, all right, 12 months, maybe okay. After 12 months, depends on the student. Maybe I'm getting a little bit concerned. Never met with them? Yikes, that's pretty scary. Okay, how do we get them in here? Over a quarter hadn't even heard of the Success Center. Over 16% didn't remember hearing or seeing any advertising about it. So I'm like, okay, we're obviously sending some stuff, we're missing the mark here. 70% hadn't even heard people talking about the Student Success Center. So I'm like, well, okay, maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's not. And then 30%, you know, they didn't have time to meet with an advisor. So that was at the time where we weren't doing online appointments yet. And at this time, I found this interesting. Their preference of how appointments were conducted was they rather had face-to-face first, then phone, then email, then online. And so that was kind of an interesting one where we were like, I don't know about that, but let's see what we can do. So we formulated some responses, and some of these are not rocket science, but such a small little tweak can make such a big difference. And so we changed our email address. Instead of biz advisement, which that doesn't make sense, that's the wrong message, we're CB Success. And so part of that, you know, flip involved changing our language, because at the time our students were still answering the phone as College of Business Advisement, how can I help you? And I'm like, we have career consultants and stuff here too, so we have to answer in a different way. And so they were like, but we're answering Student Success Center and they don't know what that means. And I said, okay, so let's first say, hey, Student Success Center, this is so-and-so, you know, we're home to advisement and career development. And so we did that for a little bit until we, you know, kind of got them into that lingo and stuff. And so those are some of the things that we did. We updated our web page, and so we brought all of those services under a main header of the Student Success Center. And so our web page is about to go through a massive update soon. So some of that will be even more solidified. We created a logo, we put it on everything, and you know, signature lines for our advisors and those types of things. We, around that same time is when we started that monthly newsletter. And so we started to put more promotion, try to explain what the Student Success Center is, how it is that we can help people. We send, so every semester, and this has kind of evolved over time, but I'll send emails to our faculty and staff in the College of Business that introduces them to all of the people in the Student Success Center, the roles that they do. Here's the things that we can offer. Here's how you can promote them to the students. And so then I was like, okay, how do we take that a step further? So we created a widget that we use D2L as an LMS. And so we created a widget that we ask our faculty to put in their classes. My next step in a couple of weeks is to meet with IT to develop a shell specifically for College of Business that all these things are already in there. So we don't have to worry about faculty adding them, because about half of them will do it. And so we have a widget that basically has our Student Success Center, and then here's how you get a hold of advisement and career development and the testing center and, you know, mainline and stuff like that, so that it's right there front and center for students in this area that they visit every day. We also learned that we can do some massive news blasts in D2L for students to tell them, you know, hey, enrollment is coming up, go ahead and get enrolled, meet with your advisor. Instead of just doing face-to-face appointments, we've always done like online, you know, email and phone, but we made it more visible for students to see. And so in our appointment system, they have the option to choose face-to-face or online, and then online breaks down to where they can choose whether they want it on Zoom video chat or if they want it on phone or email. Again, we added those workshops. We added directional signage in the college. So we have signage pointing to the Dean Suite, the Testing Center, and the Student Success Center at all of the places that students could look to find these things. We've increased our social media presence within the last probably 6 months. It's been like kind of going pretty good. We were posting, but we've started to be a lot more intentional with what it is that we're posting. So I approve weekly social media that goes out on our main page for 4 or 5 days a week. So we're posting almost every day there. And then our advisement team began meeting with departments regularly to get to know their faculty, and for faculty to get to know our advisors. And so they have a face with a name, they know how to promote the resources, and And then they know what some of our needs are so that they can also create resources that would help us be able to recruit students into majors or share more information. And so it becomes, and the nice thing about being situated in the College of Business is so family oriented and very team-like. It's enabled us to really all work together toward the same goal and objective, but just play our roles a little bit better. So we do ongoing assessments throughout the course of the year in all of our various areas, and we get feedback from those things, and we actually follow up on that feedback. So I've been kind of touching on COVID here and there, and I'll kind of hit some of the high points of some of the stuff that we did when we transitioned into the COVID period. And I will say that our fall enrollment in the College of Business was positive this year. We were the only college in the university that had positive enrollment, and I truly believe that the work that we did, especially over the COVID-19 time, was extremely instrumental in this. Our advisors were able to advise close to 2,000 students starting the week after spring break in preparation. We ran call campaigns, we emailed students, we hosted digital recruitment events, and so we filmed some events, and then they were stationary, so we could use the same event over and over. But we went live on Facebook with those, so it was a pre-recorded beginning, but then the end was Jordan and I, or one of our faculty, or even one of our students at the front that was an international student that got to share some of his experiences. That was a live feed on that portion of it. And so those are some of the things that we did to do some recruiting over the summer. And we did a virtual yearbook for our students. And so that's a picture just kind of at the cover at the bottom right. But what we, when graduation is canceled, and everybody knows how terribly sad that would be for students, we basically reached out to the family and friends of students and the students to say, hey, if you want to be in this virtual yearbook, we'd love for your loved ones to submit information. And so we did that, and we gave a lot of kudos from all of our leadership and our advisors and stuff like that. Like I said, marketing came under my role and stuff too, and so we were looking actively for what it was that we were doing in the college to stay visible and current and getting those press releases out there. I don't know if you all use or have heard of Civitas, but Civitas is a program that we use at UCO for retention. We're able to send nudge campaigns, so just short little nudges that we can tell students about enrollment, or just various things that would lead to retention. So we sent out a ton of various nudge campaigns. You can drill down and target to various groups of students. I'll show you an example here of one in a minute. And then I got a grant to hire 4 interns over the summer, and so and into the first portion of the fall semester. So we launched a call campaign, and we had them on various different projects and stuff. And so we were able to have the student that we hired called almost 500 students and tried to personally reach out and talk to them about, why they hadn't enrolled yet and how could they get help and resources. And they were so appreciative because it was so busy during that time. So to be able to talk to a live human was really something for them. So like I said, we did lots of Facebook Live and Instagram Live stories and videos, and we kept putting marketing and promotions in all of the university stuff that went out. And we wanted to put some fun signage in the college to remind students not to crowd spaces, so that, and already, you're masked and you can only see people's eyes and everybody looks miserable, just, something to make them laugh. And we asked them what their experience was like in the spring so that we could make it better for them in the fall. And like I said, major website updates. So these are a lot of the promotions and stuff that we did over the semester, running a campaign right now called In This Together to remind everyone that, it doesn't have to stink, it's not ideal, but there's a lot of beauty that comes out of the season. And so remember that we're in this together, and it's important that we do things together. And so before I just kind of close, I talked about Civitas. This is just a little example of a recruitment, or a nudge campaign that we did. And so this was targeted specifically for marketing students that had yet to enroll, to just be a little bit more personal. So I wrote this because I was a marketing major and then wanted to, you know, bring in some of the marketing aspects and so those different things, and just being very intentional about how we reach out to those students and those things that could help make them connect with what it is that we're doing. So we got some pretty good responses on those recruitment efforts and those retention efforts and nudge campaigns and stuff. So just in closing, I know it's been a lot of information, but I love this quote because we can keep planning and we can say, okay, like I really want to do that. I really want to do that. And I would say to you, like, what can you do today? What is one just simple thing that you can do today to just start pushing you in that direction that you want to go? Because it's overwhelming to think of like, oh, I want to do this and this and this and this. Just pick one. Bite a small piece, and those other little pieces will start to come, and that's what they did, and that's what I had to remind myself. And so if that can be of encouragement to you. I am more than happy to share resources with you if you want a copy of any of the surveys that we send out, or any of that stuff. You're more than welcome to reach out to me at any time. We love collaborating, and we love our partners across the state and outside of the state, and just everybody that loves higher education. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Hi, Niccole. This is Megan. I just have a quick question about looking at social media in different forms, and as students evolve and social media usage evolves, just kind of looking at how you have also evolved with that and using new media platforms.
So the three primary media platforms that we use are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we will be running a survey soon that looks, again, similar to the awareness survey that we ran, to get some more information. So some of the stuff that we have learned, and you've probably learned this too, but Instagram is hot for students. It's at least for our students, it's the primary place that they're getting information. And so when we develop these social media things, Jordan will send me a Word document with all of them, day by day, and then she'll have them different for each of the various platforms, because there's different, word counts and sizes for images and stuff like that. And so we try to utilize those tools and those resources. And then, what was I going to say? One of the things that we're working on doing is figuring out, how to increase followership. And so we've just talked a lot about really going on the offense to get more followership and stuff, and to collect more of their information for their various handles across their platforms in the surveys that we collect after appointments. And then that's going to be the responsibility of one of our interns, is to then go in and find the students in those handles and ask them if they'd like to, join, like, or whatever the hot button is, each of our handles. So if that answers your question, Megan.
It does. Cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for attending. We do have another question in the chat, but Niccole, if you'll put up your last slide for the survey evaluation. You guys will fill out the evaluation, and then we will put the link to the next session that starts at 10:10 in the chat. But one of the questions in the chat, Niccole, is who runs your media campaigns and how much buy-in do you have from students?
So our social media, it differs. So Jordan in our office, who is our recruitment, perspective, and career consultant, she also has marketing built into her role. So she does all of our, I'll say, marketing social media campaigns for the Student Success Center and anything enrollment related at the undergraduate level. And then we have our marketing coordinator that partners and collaborates with her on those things. And then he works primarily with our grad programs to help them develop that, because he serves in that role for the entire college. And so it's really a combined effort between Jack, Jordan, and I, weekly planning. And so what we have is we have semester-long plans, and then even year-long plans of what you really need to do is figure out what are the normal times in the semester that these specific staple pieces happen, and then how do you create, you know, imagery or wording or whatever around those things. And then our goal is to have them really developed throughout the course of the year, so that Jordan's just making little tweaks as we go. And so that's kind of how we approached it, was to figure out what it is that we need to know. And then faculty and other staff in the college also know to be able to contact us to put together just a, you know, quick shot. So, and then we peruse what the university is doing and try to tag on to various things and ask, you know, if the university is running something on one of our students, tag us in there so that we do it. So it's very collaborative effort between us and university communications. Like, we do have to go through brand review when we create large publications like the yearbook, for example, but those social media type things, it's really the three of us working together in the office.
Thank you so much for your presentation today, Niccole. It was excellent. It sounds like everybody enjoyed it. If you do have questions for Niccole after this session, please feel free to reach out and contact her. We appreciate you all attending OACADA today. As a reminder, the link to the next session is in the chat. It does begin at 10:10, so you've got a few minutes to jump over there. Niccole, if anyone wants to stick around, will you hang out for a couple of minutes and answer?
Oh yeah, I'll be here. Happy to.
All right. Well, thank you all. We appreciate you being here at OACADA and look forward to seeing you all at the next session.
I don't know, Wes, if you're still on, Wes, I see your picture. How many workshops do we provide and how frequently? We're providing workshops. That's a really good question. I cannot remember how many we do for this semester, but we do them 1 or 2 per week, pretty much throughout the entire semester. August is pretty much a wash. So they start to hit the ground running September, October, November, and then we've got a couple weeks of December. So we usually do one around like stress, finals week, and stuff like that. So one or two a week, and then again we just try to kind of space them out. Someone also asked, I think Wes, also you asked about buy-in and following. So that's been increasing. So like I kind of said before, it's once it kind of came under my purview, it got a little bit more intentional related. We're really looking at why we're doing what we're doing. Like, there is a reason for every single piece that goes in, because it's how you measure it to make sure that you can, you know, that it's successful and it's working. And so the buy-in is pretty good for the most part. I mean, it's increased significantly, and that was like, oh yay, that's exciting. So now I'm like, okay, how do we go and get them and find them in their classes and those types of things? And so that's where we're just kind of going on the offense now to collect and make some tweaks to some of our surveys to collect some of that information to give to our interns for them to be able to go out and you know, request that people like our page and stuff.
Thank you. And I love the virtual yearbook idea. And kind of building social media presence is something that I've been really thinking about at the University of Oklahoma, because it's stronger in some areas than others, and definitely not uniform or consistent. So.
Yeah, I think like we've just tried to make it more fun. It's like, if I look at it, I'm like, is this boring? I mean, I have no problem asking the younger generation around me, like, I'm not cool anymore. So like, what is jiving with the kids these days? And, you know, we really rely on their feedback and they give it to us. And so I think that's the thing, is just, you know, who's the I'm a marketing major at heart, but like, who's the target and what do they want? So create that. And so that's really what we're trying to do.
Well, thank you so much, and great presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you.